You made a 3D printing business out of a DeLorean? Morning roundup. Very nice, Dolphin. Dude, why? Thermal runaway error. Why won't this thing print? Mysterious problem? Spool problem? Thermal runaway problem. What is it with this printer? This is just cursed. Guitar Octo. In much better news, Big David coming along nicely. Our cheese got done and holdable coffee. You know, the one that I designed for Mrs. America. Got a nice big Smile-O-Don skull. And a very nice D20 coming along swimmingly. And a coffee lid. Okay, so last night, after I finished the video, I decided to go the extra mile. And in Prusa Slicer, we came up with a profile that actually did work. However, for some reason, this got clogged. I don't exactly know why that is. Maybe we'll try some different settings and stuff. But it was successfully printing a Sharky. I would say the bottom layer maybe needs to be a little thicker. It's been a while since I actually specified all the settings and stuff. But you can see that it did a pretty good job. So thankfully we're starting this process fairly early. We've got quite a lot of time to get this dialed in. But yeah, I'm thinking it maybe got clogged because I was just running it too fast. I was running it about as fast as the default settings for this, which were very, very fast. So we'll slow it down and see what we got. Well, we're gonna work on that later. Every once in a while, you get a thermal runaway error that's a true fluke. It's pretty rare, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna print a straw on here because we need a straw for one of the drinks that we made. One of the things that's nice about printing the straws is they go all the way up. So if it's a thing that's caused by Z-axis motion, then you can kind of sort it out. Basically, you know, swapping out the heating cartridge and stuff, which is what we're probably going to have to do, is just a huge pain with these Micro Swiss things. It's the only thing I don't like about the Micro Swiss extruders, is like it's just such a pain to do all that. So let's cross our fingers. It might have been a fluke. I don't know why that would happen, but I've seen it enough times that it's worth just testing. And you know, if we print half a straw, that's not very much wasted plastic. All right, we're about to make fish. There was a really good sale and I bought like a crap load of this stuff. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think my air fryer is having an emotional breakdown. We'll see if it works. In the meantime, we've pulled out the clog. I mean, this looks pretty normal. I could measure this, but we'll just get another spool. All right, we're going for round 2 here. Only thing I had to do was lower the Z a little bit. It wasn't quite getting the squish, even after all the bed leveling that we needed. But as you guys can see, we did get a pretty good first layer. I don't know what this is, maybe a little leftover plastic. Actually, I think the system was primed with black PLA, so there's just a little bit left in the nozzle. Although that doesn't make sense. Well, that was true, but it's true for the Benchy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is we did get a pretty good first layer. I'm hoping it's just a speed thing, like I was just running it too much. But we'll give it a shot. We gotta be making these Sharkies, man. Okie doke. Let's see if we get a thermal runaway error on this bad boy. Hopefully it's just a fluke. All right, we're back on the Sharky train. We lowered it slightly. We're getting definitely a better squish from that, but yeah, it does do a pretty decent job of leveling its own bed. And here we go, cedar plank salmon for only $5. Not bad. Also, we added the wing sauce. This is extremely good. This is like such a good thing. Well, there's our answer. We really do have to change the cartridge. All right. All right, for our daily walk, I think we're getting some coffee. Actually, it's a little chilly today. There we go. I don't normally do this, but we're actually right next to a Starbucks. I think we're just gonna go there. By the way, this building, we almost made this the original location of M3's 3D. The people that own it just wanted way too much money to rent there though, but it would have been very, very convenient. Oh yeah, we're going to the Bucks. This Starbucks location is right across from campus. It's like crazy how many students are here. Ah yes. More expensive than Dunkin', and you get less, but still pretty good. What Starbucks reminds me of, when I first moved to Austin, me and my wife were working all the time. She would do these 12-hour shifts, like 3 or 4 days a week at a hospital. So I would drop her off. She was Canadian, didn't have a driver's license, so I had to drive everywhere. I guess I should say she is Canadian, not was. I don't think she's renounced her citizenship, probably. Emotionally, it feels like she died or something, but I'm assuming she hasn't. Anyway, I would drop her off at 6 in the morning, basically. And my shift at Jimmy John's usually started like 8 or 9 or something like that. Like we did some prep work and then got into it. Start delivering at 10. So there was always like 2 or 3 hours where I didn't really have anything to do, and there was no point in going back home because Austin traffic is crazy, in case you didn't know that. So this was a few years, I guess this would have been like 2 years before I started the business. And I was looking for businesses to start. I was looking for things that fit my talent stack. If you guys have never read The 4-Hour Workweek, it's a classic. One thing Tim Ferriss talks about back in the day is the idea that if you think about all the things you are talented at or things you have skill in, there's probably a business that might be in the center of those things, a business you can start that might incorporate all of those things that you have, you know, especially if they're like things that aren't normally connected. So I was thinking a lot about that. I realized one of the unique skills that I had was not so much that I could record music, because a lot of people can do that, but that I could record like entire albums myself. I could write and record music very, very quickly, kind of like I've done with the music videos I've been doing. You know, I could write things quite quickly. I had all the equipment necessary and all the instruments necessary to record all the parts. So I kind of thought, like, what's a business I could start that would really be able to use? Why is the light not on? Why did that go off? All right, yeah. The M3's 3D sign just straight up died. I've tried a bunch of things. All right, well, there's that. Anyway, I was thinking about, like, what would this skill be useful for? Then I was thinking about practice tracks. So there are a lot of like practice tracks for people learning guitar, to play guitar over. You know, sometimes it's like a literal backing track, like you want to play Limelight by Rush with the guitar cutouts, you know. There's that kind, and then there's the kind where you just play lead, you solo over it. And I kind of noticed like none of those practice tracks I've ever listened to or practiced to were like cool. You know, they're always really, really boring. Which they need to be simple because it's for beginners and stuff usually. But I kind of thought, like, what if there should be like an advanced level? You know, like not just we're just gonna play some basic chords and you solo over it, but like we're going to like do something that's actually kind of complex and teaches you things. You know, like, oh, there's a key change, you got to get ready for that, or here's a tempo change, you got to get used to that. And I realized that basically didn't exist. So I started M3 Jams. And so anyway, bringing back to Starbucks, what I would do every morning is I would write beats for these songs and then sequence them together and stuff. And I would do that for 2 to 3 hours every single morning before work. And basically M3 Jams turned out to not be worth it at all. I mean, I'm kind of proud of what I did. I made 2 whole albums of that, and I was trying to do all this stuff to promote it, but it was really hard to get people excited about that. Even though I thought and still think it's kind of a good idea. Maybe if one day I'm like super duper famous, we'll bring it back and get people into it. But you know, just another example of one of my non-successful businesses before this one. And now I have a non-successful sign. Overpriced, but good. Checking in. So far, so good. Alright, let's get some stuff painted. Of course, we've got our D20 can. And we got a very nice Einstein. Hello, Mr. Eastwood. And we've got a Moai. And another Einstein. And we've got a guitar octo. And another guitar octo. And we've got Chuck Norris. Yup. It's that one. Kind of random, but I was listening to Soft White Underbelly. It's a great YouTube channel. This guy is being interviewed, and he was talking about, he was a cop. He was like an undercover cop. He was telling a story about a time that him and a buddy of his busted some drug dealer, and there's like $300,000 there. And I was thinking to myself, would you take a little bit and just kind of put it in your pocket, maybe drive it home real quick? And he was talking about how tempting it was to do that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'd take 20K off the top. Half these drug dealers don't even count the money they probably have, or they do later or something. And even if he figured out that you took 20K out of the 300,000, it's like, what's he gonna do? Like, be like, I had 300,000 and now there's 280,000. Like, it doesn't even really matter. If anything, that kind of reduces his sentence maybe, or he's guilty of doing less drug dealing. He's not getting the money either way. Now maybe like if this is a big time drug dealer and he just has a vendetta against these cops, but if it's some kind of small time person or something, I'm taking 20K, putting it right in my pocket. I don't know about you guys. Why not? Come into the office the next day with a nice Rolex on. Yeah, I don't know, just a random thought. And another Moai. We got another David. And we've got a very nice cheese. Well, now we're doing the outer perimeters, and it seems to be doing a pretty admirable job. We've got pretty good detail. We've got the beginning of the mouth there. So we're just gonna let it ride like this, and maybe once this one gets done, we'll speed it up and see if we can make the whole process more efficient. Very nice. Bronze octo. Orange. Okie doke. We're officially past the point where it printed before and messed up. So I think whatever we did, I guess slowing down the speed a little bit made the difference. Well, we replaced the heat capsule and stuff on this. Hopefully, we will not have any more problems. Look at my boy. Look at how he mined me. So, we are about out of filaments. We have to figure out the best way to switch out the rolls. So that's what we're about to do. I think we're just gonna try the old pause button. I'm gonna wait till the, never mind. All right, I think we got it. It's doing its thing over here. One thing that's really weird about this printer is how it just does that periodically instead of continuously. Okay, it is. I don't know how to predict when it's going to do it. But anyway, it's like clearly continuously feeding it at the hot end, but then it just randomly sucks in a whole bunch over here. That's really pretty strange to me. Yeah, okay, I think it's restarted correctly. The thing to pay attention to is that wheel. Like, I'm not used to looking at a wheel on the hot end, but as long as it's kind of turning nice and smoothly, it has successfully accepted the new filament. See, this is fun. This is the journey. We're figuring out this thing. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. The only thing I was really concerned about was changing filament. It was a little wonky, to be honest. Not quite as simple as one of the bed slingers, but it's working. It's making a nice thick wall. This is gonna be a pretty good Sharky once it gets done. We might even have enough filament on that spool to finish the whole thing. If it's not enough, it'll be pretty close. With that being accomplished, let's package the ukulele hanger. And it's time to package the Einstein shirt head, psychedelic edition. Isn't he a beautiful boy? By the way, this is how you mount it on the wall. Just like that. Einstein shirt head. And big cheese. Bronze Chuck. Well, we're getting a bunch done today. We have a new product to take photos of. Try not to tie yourself into knots. Look at me, look at me. I am the pretzel captain now. Join the Discord, link below. Chihuahua of the day. Drop your comments in the comments or questions section of the Discord, link below. JT, I don't know why. You just have to be a tree now. Making a coffee. Can't wait for this episode. Thumbs up emoji. That's the right way to do it. Good episode. You may try printing a temp tower up to 25°C higher than what you normally print with on your CR10s to find the right melt temp. Faster prints usually need a bit more heat to maintain layer bonding. True. Also, if the nozzle is thicker. Based on what you're printing, you can move to a 0.6 nozzle and speed up your print times by another 30%-ish, and even bump your layer height to 0.3 and knock off even more print time. Yeah, I think we're gonna rock with what we've got so far, but once I feel like we've gotten that nailed down, maybe we'll start messing with that kind of stuff. Mopar dude, I'm glad to see you got the Sovol SVO8 Max up and going finally. Have you ever looked into the Infinity Flow S1? It holds 2 spools of filament, and when one runs out, it starts the second one. Yes, I've heard of it. I've got a pretty good system for checking filament. I have like regular times of day I kind of do it. And then sometimes I have like something that I'm using up a little bit of filament on the spool because I want to use that spool for the spooler, you know. So I'll kind of like, I have like 1 or 2 printers that I use that way. We use the small partials just so that we can get the spools empty, and then, you know, we right to the spooler. But yeah, if we get to a place where I feel like I really need to, I probably would get one of those things. Dudorius, are your G-code files normally half a gig? Yeah, I don't know why it initially was so huge. It doesn't really make sense, but typically no. Joe, I'm hopeful for your new Core XY printer. You'll likely have to spend a bit of time creating a print profile for it in Prusa Slicer and experiment with the acceleration, inner outer wall speed, infill speed, etc. For my K1 Max, I cranked everything to the max for inner walls, but outer I left slower so the prints are smoother. That makes sense. Yeah, we're playing with it. Really, I just want to get it to a point where it's like gonna print pretty consistently without getting too crazy. So I don't know. After Christmas, we'll mess with all that stuff, but I'm just trying to get this thing functional right now. Whitey's Wicked Workshop. Congrats on the new printer. With new printer, you no longer need to worry about filament. It'll tell you when you need more. I guess I have found that out today. I'm so happy that you made this jump. Keep in mind, since it's so large, it's still a lot slower than newer, smaller size printers. I'm glad we had this talk. People like that catchphrase. It's really catching on. The Reasonable Gentleman, ever reasonable as always. Nice work, M3. A smoking episode with Pearl Jam and classic trucks. That was a classic truck. I'm not that much of a truck guy, although I used to have a really nice blue one. Back in the vending machine business days, it was always stocked full of like cans. But I really love those like 50s trucks with all the chrome and stuff. An old Ford truck like that, it's beautiful. My grandpa had an old Bronco from the 70s or something growing up, and it just vibrated like crazy. I kind of hated it as a kid, but in retrospect, my grandpa was kind of awesome. Good taste. Keep it real and toasty. I think this is a new one. You need to tighten the gear inside the extruder. It's a real small Allen key. It is known to get loose and cause slipping in the specific extruder after long use. I feel like I maybe did that. I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but there's a thing that adjusts the tension on the little squeezer thing. Maybe that's not what he's talking about. I don't know. I guess we'll play it by ear. Kimcast, I'm glad we had this talk. Smiley face emoji. Guy the Jedi Orca Slicer for the Sovol. Actually ended up really liking what Prusa Slicer did. I'm kind of a Prusa Slicer guy now. Oh yeah, Art Fedderson. Why don't you make a 3D printed pipe with stainless or wood inserts? Sort of a pipe over a pipe. That's the only real option. You could probably buy those somewhere. I bet that's the kind of random stuff they have on Amazon where you buy like 30 of them in a big pack. Silver 3DP. Just remember, speed kills. Speed kills, but who's buying? Alright, what we grateful for today? Well, there was a couple of hiccups there, but I think the shark is printing. I think it's going to print. Yeah, we'll probably experiment with nozzle sizes and stuff. I haven't even looked at what kind of nozzles these things use. But like I said, I kind of want to just get this thing working normally, and then just maybe then we kind of start dialing it in. I mean, to JT's point, things could get so crazy during Christmas that, you know, it would be like having a whole second printer, basically, adjusting the nozzle and layer thicknesses. And the other thing is we got to figure out the speed settings, the optimal speed settings. So maybe after we print this shark, and maybe after we print a D20 with it, then we do the nozzle size thing. Yeah, I really want to get that thing printing D20s. That was like the whole point of buying it. Like, I need something that just will print D20s. I just need something. I think I'll do a good job. You know, it's being a real trucker so far. Plus, the Benchy showed that it's pretty good with overhangs and things. Should make a pretty nice D20, you know, fingers crossed. We really got a lot done today. I'm trying to ramp up the productivity. You know, we've been spending so much time rehabbing printers, and I actually just want to get stuff done. I just want to paint things and package things. That's all I was ever trying to do. But anyway, we got a lot done today. I have the soreness of satisfaction in my bones at the end of a productive day, and it's a good feeling. Let me know what good feelings you are grateful for today. Are you excited for the holiday season? Are you dreading the holiday season? Are you in the southern hemisphere of the world where Christmas comes in July? I think that's how it works. Let me know down in the comments. You guys are the best. We are the Gratitude Gang. All you got to do to be in the gang is be grateful for something or recommend somebody that is. Think about that. Join the Discord. We are all going places together. Peace out.
Stay around you. I can't say what I need. This blinding adolescence I'm seeing to standing in a moment. What has been is cast aside, frozen there as time rode. I know that you must have died. Everything I emotions, and we're all going to die. So leave me something precious, another sunlight. Light will surround you. Open up your light, time to say a Wiedersehen.